Dr. Queen Mary. Welcome, Dr. Chet.
I am so honored to be here this morning. I have to say that it's hard to be after all of y'all. Right? So I have to take a moment. I'm going to ask somebody if everyone can stand for a moment, please. I want you to just take a deep breath, a very deep breath. I want you to feel everything in your lungs. And think for 5 seconds, what would you do that would exhibit your own empowerment, and then let it out. I want you to turn to someone by you, and I want you to share these words with them, with me. I will use my greatest and my highest potential to bring the greatest good, to empower myself, you, my family, my community, and the entire earth. With that, we can sit down and talk about community empowerment. I made sure, since I was reminded at the time, that I would like for everyone to make sure that they get a copy of the statement that was prepared with community empowerment and women of the Virgin Islands, a practical approach. Because it's very easy for me to come before you and talk about the empowerment zones, the empowerment model, what women should do, etc. But I'm focusing on what we're going to do when we step on this wooden floor inside a government house, which is our house. So nobody should be uncomfortable. No, you ain't feeling it. You ain't feeling it. You ain't feeling it yet. Okay? We got my husband right here, Carl Christopher, was the project manager on the restoration of this building. This is our house. You understand? And everywhere we go, everywhere we turn, and those that might remember me when I was wearing a slightly different color, a little different kind of flair and fire, and a little bit of drums and some stuff, that was because we need to stand up for our life. This is not about just walking the walk. You have to live this. You have to breathe this. And we have to do it unified. And I'm not saying we don't like everything that everybody does, because we're not. And I'm not saying we're going to have the same religion, we're not going to have the same social status, we're not going to have the same educational background, but you know what? We have to stand up together and do what? Breathe. So what's happening in our air, what is going on around us in terms of the fire, the kind of abusiveness that our women are experiencing, that our children are experiencing, and our men. We are going to have to deal with that. The fact that our earth is contaminated, we're going to have to deal with that. The fact that we still buy bottled water sometimes $1.25 a gallon, we have to deal with that. So with all of that said, community empowerment, the most foundational component of community empowerment, and you can feel it from me, because it's coming from every single one of us in here, because you are my reflection. When you see me do things that sometimes you would say, I would have done that. When I see you doing things, I say, yeah, I'm feeling it. I feel her, or I feel him. We're talking about spirit. Now, see, we don't like to go into the spirituality component, because sometimes people be like, kind of, you bring religion. I'm not talking about man-made organized religion at all. I'm talking about liberty. I'm talking about the spark that stays inside of you when you talk about being empowered. Empowerment is like living a life where you are dealing with your self-sufficiency day to day, moment by moment. You're going to have to deal with health. And we are living in a dysfunctional planet. You understand? What's happening in the Virgin Islands is a microcosm of what's happening everywhere else. Our children, our women, our men are living the reflection of a Shakespearean type kind of Machiavellian drama that we just got the script and half the time we don't even know we follow the script. And we just go through it. What I'm asking when we speak of community empowerment is for us to go ancestral, to go ancient. We talk about our ancestors, but sometimes when we talk about the ancestors like 100 years ago, we might go far back and we'll even include Yeshua, Jesus Christ. But we don't go further back to a time where we had a certain kind of divinity, where I can watch every single woman on this panel, and I'm feeling my reflection. I'm living my reflection because the things that I can't do, they're doing. The things that I desire to do, they're helping me to do. And the only reason I can even come before you and speak like this is I got some strong shoulders. You understand? That I'm riding hard too. I'm like, God is letting go because that's the only way you can become empowered. You understand? And I'm going to tie into several things that were shared this morning. And it's fascinating because I'm wondering who all read my presentation before. I was like, I thought I wrote it yesterday, but you all already had this, so I can cut through a lot. When we speak, and you'll notice in my presentation, I speak of not just woman, W-O-M-A-N. I speak of woman, W-O-M-P-M-A-N. Because that is where our sacredness lies, and that's where our strength lies. A lot of things that are happening with women right now is happening right in the middle of the center of their existence, their physical existence, their womb. Fibroids, cysts, PID, all of it, the cancers, especially the ones that we think are in the breast, are actually right in the cervical region. We deal with a lot of resentment. We deal with a lot of disrespectfulness, a lot of anger, a lot of rage. And rage can really harm us. So like you notice sometimes when I'm speaking, I'm holding a stone to keep me grounded. Auntie Janice brings her Croix. I got to have Croix. You understand? I need symbols that are going to remind me about what it means to deal with being empowered. Not empowered in the Webster Dictionary context where we can talk about having only access to information, access to resources, and of course access to finances. But I'm talking about access to the essence, the spirit of our soul that lets our mind and body function. See, that's what we're going to. That's what we're going to. Right now, and I'm hearing it over and over again, we need to step up to the plate. I was never really good at baseball, so I'm going to take it to another thing. I'm going to say we need to step up and restore our sacred seat. We used to represent, women represent the throne. I don't know if I'm going too high, if I am just warning. But we do what? We bring forth life. We witness the creation process. And I'm speaking not only to the birth mothers, I'm speaking to the extended mothers, the women that do the living, nurturing, the guiding, the rebirthing, the restoration, not only of themselves, but of everybody's children. That's empowerment. When we start to speak of what's happening amongst Virgin Islands women in terms of empowerment, we've already heard what our legislative body looks like. We've already heard the kind of blows that the few women that are in executive positions have experienced, much less what happens to our female judges for making certain decisions. It's high time that we restore ourselves to a point where we can come together, watch each other. When I came in here, like round table, we did something different. Because I like circles. Because when I'm speaking to you and I'm watching you, I can see your little inflections. I can see how you're responding to what I'm saying. I need for you to know whatever I say to you, whatever I'm sharing with you, I'm expecting you to help me to grow and be strong. stronger. The only reason some of us can step out in the community and speak forcefully and not have no fear, well, first and foremost, I don't fear humankind. The Most High first. We refer to that energy as terror, which means divine. And the reason I keep focusing on spirit is because we've lost that spirit. Women are like the foundational cornerstone of everything. If we don't keep that forcefully breathing life into things, of breathing culture into things, of breathing balance and reciprocity and harmony into things, not the one saying us. None. That's why our children can shoot each other in broad daylight and feel nothing. That's why our educators half the time don't want to go to school and teach those children that aren't listening to them because they're not political players. That's why people start arguing on who has an exclusive right to listen to self-God. You understand? And it's not supposed to be anything like that because we're supposed to be focusing on what? What's happening amongst our women here? While we're meeting and gathering this morning, we have international bodies within the United Nations that will deal with the same issues. You understand? That's why I like giving people information and access. You don't want to take it from me. Maybe my feathers too tall. You know, maybe I need to have some feathers a little, I don't do heels, but I can fake it. You know? I'll be trying. But what I'm saying is that some of the statistics that is available in the information that we share with you, 2/3 of the women's population on the earth are illiterate. So when you see our youth here that can't read and write, you should be in shock. You should be like, well, that is a reflection of what's going on. And if you don't know, www.woodenswatch.org, www.un.org. We have to go and get the information. It is our responsibility. Every single person that is here needs to replicate everything that's going on here with another person. And if everybody does that, do you realize the next time there won't be enough space in here? When we speak of community empowerment, we're speaking of resources, we're speaking of transformation, we're speaking of networking. Things that many people say, son, that's just too much work. It's going to take forever. Nobody wants to reach consensus. We're going to have to do it. We have to get past everything and be able to figure out, okay, what are those 3 things that we can do together? 3. If that's too much work, it's one thing that we can do together. Let's do that and do it well and excel